Chud the Builder isn't racist. He's just a loser. He's just a loser. What is up, winning team? I cannot wait to get into this one with you all, because you guys know that I like to give my 2 cents on what's going on in the world, and this is called the winning team. And as I've said to you, everybody is either a winner or a loser. It's as simple as that. It's character traits, the way you behave, the way you deal with life and the circumstances you were born into, the way you deal with the things that have happened in your life. And Chud the Builder, if you don't know who he is, I'm about to give you guys the quick summary about this guy. Is known for being a racist, or rather maybe a white supremacist. I don't know. Can I just say before I get into it, hey, I'm a big believer in free speech, and I don't really care. Like I've said to you guys, this is why I think it'd be funny for me to give my take as a black person on this, because you guys know I'm not easy to offend, because in order for me, what you say to offend me, I have to have actually respected you in the first place. And low-key, if I was a white supremacist, right, and I hated black people, I don't know why anyone was behind this guy, because this guy's a loser. He's not making the movement look very respectable or anything. It's actually looking embarrassing. It's actually giving loser energy, and I'm going to explain exactly how. Now, in case you're not like me, who's had a little bit too much time on my hands due to the fact that, you know, I teach and the kids are doing exams, so I have a little bit extra time on my hands these days, and I've been chronically online, and I came across this guy by the name of Chud the Builder. Now guys, this is so juicy. You're going to want to stay for this one, because this is a perfect example, right? We've got more videos like this coming, because I feel like the losers are all now being seen for who they really are. Right, you got this guy called Chud the Builder, who is been known to go and sort of like antagonize black people by calling them the N-word, you know what I mean, with the hard R. I think this no hard R-A thing, you guys know I'm not a fan of the word nigger in general, okay? But every now and then I use it. And also, we'll come to that, right? But either way, I also wouldn't be that offended if somebody said it to me, because you know why? Why do I care? Like, well, what is it about you that's so desperate to get a reaction out of me, or so pathetic that you go for... This is why when people are racist and they go, because he was the one going around calling black people chimps, niggers, all this stuff, yeah? I'm like, that actually says a lot more about you than it does about me, because first of all, you don't even know these people that you're talking to. Second of all, why is that the first thing you go to? You've got nothing more intelligent to pull out of the bag. You're just going to go for the basic things that your freaking 13-year-old would come up with because they saw the words online. It's a pathetic from the beginning. You know what I mean? This is why I don't even get offended. I wouldn't even be offended, because I'll be like, oh, what a cheap shot. What a cheap shot. And there's ironies to it. So let me give you a little backstory for those of you who don't know, and quickly summarize. So Chud the Builder, I first heard about him because of this antagonizing black people thing, where he'd be live streaming or streaming out and while he's doing stuff, and then he'll intentionally walk up to black people and be like, yeah, calling them niggers, calling them chimps, right? Now, first of all, I don't know why people forgot the phrase mess around and find out, because whether it's a black person, whether it's a white person, whether it's an Asian person, whether it's whoever you're talking to, you never know who you're messing with. And this is why I think we need to bring back punching people in the face. Because this is what I'm saying when I say we're in a world that protects losers and that enables losers. The fact that people think they can just do anything and there's no consequences to pay. As somebody who, I didn't grow up like in the hood, but I know hood niggas, and I've known hood niggas. These people are insane, by the way, and they don't care. I've met people who really, truly don't care about going to prison, don't care about if somebody's going to try and fight them. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And those are the ones you don't want to mess with, because I promise you, they're more prepared than you are. And I've seen it happen myself with my own 2 eyes multiple times, where somebody who didn't realize who they were talking to was humbled. And I honestly think low-key these guys doing the humbling are like guardian angels. Because if you meet somebody who doesn't really do a lot, but just intimidates you a little bit, and you get scared, mate, that was the Lord stepping in to give you a chance to wise up, right? Because that's, again, where the loser thing is to be stupid enough to not realize some people will retaliate, and some people don't care about the consequences. But anyways, so here's what this guy did, yeah? This guy was doing this, and he was doing it, and he was getting encouraged. Now, when you get to the reason why he started doing all of this in the first place, that's when it's going to get juicy. But we're going to come to that, right? And then we're going to come to the ironies of it all, right? So he's doing all of this and he's being egged on by other white supremacists again. And this is something I'm going to say, yeah? I'm going to say this with my whole chest to the white community. If you're a white supremacist, you better be a white supremacist with your chest. If all you have to do is hide behind your screen or keep it in yourself and keep it inside, what's the freaking point? Wear it loud and proud then. Walk around. Go and put on the freaking KKK costume. If you're really that bad, because I honestly think that this whole thing of like being angry in the shadows is so pathetic. It's such loser energy. This is why when I have something to say, I come here and I come to the internet so that my voice can reach the entire world. Yeah. So grow some bollocks, grow some backbone. And if you're really going to be there, then be there with your chest. And I feel like I've learned that from living in this country where no one says anything out loud. Everyone just keeps everything inside. And this is what I'm saying about the loser energy of when you store it inside, it then becomes this anger that festers up inside of you, right? And then eventually it's going to take over you and it's going to control you, which is exactly what I believe happened with Chud the Builder. So he was doing it at first and he was getting encouragement online. Of course he is, by the other freaking losers who are just blank, have no display pictures. Their name's user37894. They go to work. They don't have a backbone or anything to stand up. They've never actually got into any level of confrontation with anybody about anything, let alone about white supremacy. But then they were confidently supporting this guy online, which again is cowardly because hello, this guy is the one putting his face out there at least. So at least I had respect for that. I was like, hey, go for it. But just remember, actions have consequences. It's like I say to you guys about sins and sinning. Listen, the Lord will forgive us all as long as we've received Christ. And again, Chud, it is funny because Chud, yeah, this is how you know this is crazy. And this is why I'm actually enjoying living in the world, because of how stupid everybody looks right now. In one of his videos, he's walking down a bridge and he sees a group of like white teenage boys, right? Again, guys, I have to talk about everybody's race in this video because this is what the video is about. And he sees a group of white teenage boys and he kind of goes to like handshake them as if to be like, oh, my people, the clean ones, the civilized, the non-barbarian, right? So he goes up to these and they're like, whoa, no, we don't want nothing to do with you, because they've heard of him, whatever. And he starts to insult them. And then one of the teenagers, this is why I'm like, the teenagers in my generation, I actually love more than the older generations at this point. They were like, aren't you supposed to be a Christian anyway? Because he starts to insult them. He's like, aren't you supposed to be a Christian anyway? And this is, again, what I'm thinking is funny, because then again, just going back to the Christian thing, and I was going to do a whole video about it, but I'll just touch on it now. When Jesus came, the whole point of him coming and saying that the gospel is for Jews and Gentiles is to say it's for everybody. So if you really believe what the words of Christ, then you wouldn't actually be any supremacist. That's also why I'm not personally like a black supremacist. You know what I mean? I don't see myself as a black person as better than a white person or an Asian person or whatever person. You know what I mean? I see us all as the people who are my people are those who are under the wing of the Lord, those who've received Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Those are my team. That's my people. Whatever you are, whatever you are, if you're under that umbrella, that was the whole point of Jesus. It was always planned that way, that God would bring the gospel to the one group of people and then he would spread it to everybody else. It was from the Old Testament, even references that. But anyway, so yeah, so I thought that was fascinating and just incredible that it took a group of white teenage boys to be the ones to call out his hypocrisies as a Christian. And this is all happening on his stream. This is why I told you guys, I love the live streaming. I know people who don't really have respect for streamers, but this is why, because you can't do the Hollywood airbrushing, cutting, changing narratives, switching things around to try and curate a narrative. Whatever happens is just what happens, so we all get to see it. And that's what actually led to this Chud the Builder's demise himself, him filming his own stuff and him wanting to be doing all of this, right, to get everybody riled up. And I think he misunderstood the attention he was getting. And this is why I say to you guys that getting attention and wanting attention is overrated, because once you become like a slave to the attention of the Jew of the sheep, once you start to love that people are like paying attention to what you're doing or whatever, you don't really realize the consequences. I say to you guys all the time, that we have to think about the consequences. Like I said, just because God has saved me and whatever, that doesn't mean I get to skip out on the consequences of my actions. Sometimes he will, and sometimes he will let me live in it and have to deal with it. Right? And this is why I say, when you have the chance, humble thyself, right? Because for this guy, it's about to go bad. And there was a time he had an opportunity to face up to something that happened, humble himself. He chose not to. And now bro's facing 25 to life. Yes, it's getting worse. So the next things I'm seeing about him, I think before this even, he's at some gas station in the United States and he messes with the wrong one. There's a guy, he's got a gun. He's like, listen, I got guns, you got guns. You want to do this? You really want to do this? While he's going around antagonizing, which again, freedom of speech and antagonizing is two different things. If somebody's just minding their business, because who's really acting more erratic? Like, it's kind of funny because this whole process, Chud actually made black people look better in a way, because of him being the one behaving the way he's behaving, and how much decorum and how much patience a lot of black people had with him. Inadvertently, he actually revealed more of us who don't follow some of the negative stereotypes that these so-called white supremacists believe in about black people. Some white supremacists, right? I'm not an expert on white supremacy because, again, I don't really care. What have you gained? Like, this is what I'm saying with the black thing. What have we gained? If we're not, like, what have we actually gained other than just all trauma bonding? Because that's what I feel like it is. It's like white supremacy is like you're all trauma bonding. We're whites. Well, this is what's happening in this country right now. Our country's being taken over, but you didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. You're in a country that's calls itself Christian. Your king is supposed to be the head of the Church of England, and the mosques are always open. The churches are always closed. 95% of the people don't even go to church. This country is mostly atheist. And you wonder why. You want to be upset why when other people come in here, you don't speak up about anything. Every conversation that's about religion and politics is considered unpolitically correct. So how did you expect to protect anything when you can't talk about anything? And I know from growing up here, I've always been treated like I'm the crazy American, by the way, which is ironic for so many reasons, because I'm also, whatever, black, African, but I've always been treated like the crazy American, like, oh my gosh, how could you talk about this? How could you? And no, people don't even know that I've been born in the United States, but they still treat me that way. Isn't that crazy? I'm like, yeah. So some of us who've been speaking up on your behalf, on behalf of a lot of you for all over the years, and you've been villainizing me for it, like, oh, we don't do that, but now you want to cry. I sat there and watched. I've been watching. I remember watching the road that I used to live on, where they had all these different restaurants, and a certain group of people all of a sudden bought all of those restaurants, and you guys didn't say nothing. You didn't do nothing. You just had that little anger like building up inside of you, because this is what happened with this Chud the Builder guy. And this doesn't just, I'm not talking about white people in particular, I'm saying losers. This is why I said it's not about race, it's about losers. It just happens that race happened to be the easy option of something to attack with the black person, especially because we're also it's like, there's something, adults are like children, like everybody's just hella emotional. Like, you're hella emotional by immediately attacking race, but you're only doing that because you know that black people are hella emotional about race. So I'm like, call me a nigger and what? Okay, my life goes on. What was I thinking? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna move on with my day. Why do I care? Why would I give power to somebody else that their words are gonna affect me so deeply? Why would I do that? That to me is also giving loser behavior. So anyways, he messes with the wrong one, and he gets into an altercation, and then I can't remember exactly the nitty gritties of it, but they get into some kind of, some level of physical stuff happen. Like, one of them, I think I don't know, he goes to punch the guy spits on him, whatever. Then he calls the police, and he's like, and he thinks he's gonna get this guy put away. And he's thinking, yeah, because again, he believes in this whole thing that, like, you know, that this is what I'm saying. It's funny how much he has in common with the people who black people who are also black supremacy or whatever. He thinks, obviously being the white man, that he's going to call the police, and obviously the police hate black people, so the police are going to take his side. Oh no, baby. He ends up having the FBI, I think it was, coming in. He doesn't even go to the normal police thing. They take him somewhere else, and he gets, because he's like, are you part of this terrorist organization that's against this and this and this? And it escalates higher than he thought, right? And then he gets out. Then guess what happens? His ex-wife is like, I'm changing your son's name because I can't have him associated with you. Because now he's getting known for being a part of these types of groups. And you know, you don't want to be involved with being considered to be part of the hateful groups, especially when it comes to groups linked in particular to potentially any what's the one called, anti-Semitist, is it? Whatever. You don't want to get involved with that, especially. So when you cross into that frame of reference, like, you were actually doing all right when you were just being, you know, when you start going into the racist areas, yeah, it starts to beg the question, who else are you? You know what I mean? Racist too. So then he does a stream, and he's like crying, and he's like, guys, I've lost everything. Somebody shot my dog, killed my dog. My ex-wife's changing my son's name. He's losing everything. He's like, guys, all I have is you guys. And then again, the jury of the sheep was egging him on, like, come on, you choosing the wrong black people, is this whatever? And then he's like, guys, the grand finale's coming. And this is what I mean when I say that, this is why I think all these demons are working within him at the same time. Jealousy, number one. Jealousy, envy, just the trauma of something we're about to get into, of how he got here, right? In the midst of all of this, and this is the kicker, right? In the midst of all of this, bro has this woman come out, yeah? And she's like, basically in a clip, he had bumped into her somewhere and it's on his stream. And she's like, do you remember me? And it's a black lady. He's like, do you remember me? And he's like, no. She's like, come on, Dalton. So she's calling him by his first name. And it was so funny because I think it's the first time any of us had heard his first name. And I just found this fascinating because then she then goes to the social media. That's why I love social media. And here she is. And she's like, guys, I remember Dalton, you know, I'm a woman. And what I do is I provide men with services, you know, men who like to, what did she say? She said men who like to have their prostates massaged. That's how she put it. Guys, I was crying of laughter, right? She's like, I like to provide men who like to have their prostate massages. She's then here on TikTok, I think it is, yeah, showing the very strap-on that was used to poor Dalton, right? And then she goes as far as to say, I remember how cute it was that when she was like, he's a lot skinnier now. She was like, he's a lot skinnier now. He was a bit more chubby before, and it was so cute how his little his little butt cheeks used to bounce. I was like, oh my gosh. Bro was getting pegged by a black woman, okay? In the past, Dalton, right? And this is what I'm saying. It's always like this. It's always like this. It's always like this. They're always coming out, yeah? Especially being a black woman, I've learned this lesson throughout time. A lot of racism is laced within some kind of mixture of both really good and really bad experiences with black people. And it's the love to hate and hate to love. The love to hate and hate to love. Because bro, not only was bro going with what's her name? This woman, not only was he philandering with a black person, he was getting, well, and by the way, guys, this is the first time I actually finally had to figure out what this word pegged meant, which please don't look into it. But by a black woman with a sex toy. Are you kidding me? Sir, that doesn't get further from your kind of message than it possibly can. Now, before we get into the reason why he built up this vendetta in the first place, let's talk about how the story ended. Well, he now goes to antagonize some more black people because he's like, this is the season finale. So he's saying, I think on X, this is the season finale. I'm gonna kill one of them, and I'm gonna walk free on self-defense charges, and because he's being egged on again, right? Because as the people are saying to him, you haven't done enough, it's feeding into his, like, because I feel like deep down he is a loser. Like deep down he knows he ain't nothing. And rather than becoming something, rather than addressing himself, rather than becoming a man who can be respected for other things in life, he just took the easy option. And this is what losers always do. Like, he could do anything. He could go and build something for himself. He could have had, really serious points and ideas of ways he wanted to change the laws because of the things he's experienced as a result of black people or something. I would have respected that. I would have been like, cool, it brings some actual policies to the table. But all bro was doing was going around calling people the N-word. Like, that's what he was doing, and calling people chimps and whatnot. And like I said, cheap shot, everybody does that. No, it's not a new one, it's not creative. And there's nothing behind it, realistically speaking. And I was also thinking it's ironic because it's very much a Western concept, this whole idea of evolution as a result of Charles Darwin, where we also all evolved from chimps. So are you trying to, from like monkeys and whatnot? So what really are you really saying actually at this point anyway? Anyway, surely by that logic, chimps are your ancestors anyway. So anyway, so he then goes and antagonizes this guy, this black dude again, obviously, and the guy is like just like traumatized because he's a vet. That's what I'm saying. He's making the black people look good. So you got a black vet and he's like, please don't call me that. Please don't call me that. I'm suffering with PTSD from like being in the army. So this is a black man. This is why, again, I'm like, as black people, we need to start rethinking what we're doing in some of these situations, because we be like actually putting ourselves on the line for people who, as soon as they have an opportunity, want to just throw us to the curb. That's what I've been realizing. Like, maybe like we need to start rethinking how we're going about doing certain things, because this is exactly what I'm talking about. Because this guy has gone and fought for the whole entire country and for everybody, including your damn self. And he's here suffering of PTSD, and you're now here hearing this. You didn't at least think, okay, maybe not this guy. you continue to antagonize the guy, right? Who's telling you he's got PTSD, bearing in mind he's fighting for the country. So again, it's just a bit like, you know, and so he continues to do this, and then he starts like going to like, I think he goes to hit the guy or whatever. They get into physical fisticuffs, as they call it. And then Dalton shoots this guy, and he thinks this is going to be on some self-defense. Dalton with the cute little bouncing butt cheeks is facing 25 to life. All of this, by the way, because at the very beginning, before all I just told you, he had gone and called a woman and her daughter the N-word. And when he did, they had happened to film it, post it online, and then he lost his job, he lost everything. And he paid the consequences. So rather than going back and realizing, maybe this isn't the right way to do what I'm doing, if it's going to cost me things like this, rather than being the adult to then say, hey, I've put myself out online doing this stuff. Like I said to you guys, before I started YouTube, I thought carefully about what it was going to cost me. I thought about, what will I do if my job finds out? Am I going to quit my job, or am I going to quit YouTube? I think constantly, every single video, even though I don't get very many views at all, every single video, when I'm uploading it, sometimes I'm not uploading it because I'm like, what if this video goes viral? I have to think about that. What are the implications? That's what I'm saying about the loser energy. The fact that he didn't stop to think and realize, and you know why? It's because he was clouded by getting a hit to his ego. The fact that the world was looking down on him, he's losing things because of these niggas, right? So he now forms this whole vendetta. But it's like, but you did what you did, and you actually paid consequences in the same arena that you operate in. And because of that, and because he was getting support from some people, he rather listened to those some people who, again, like I said, are they out there putting their lives and their livelihoods and their families and their jobs on the line for their white supremacy or their racism? No, they're not. They're quietly there with their accounts that nobody knows about, that are hidden, supporting you, whilst they still go and potentially go to a job where they have black colleagues that they still pretend that they're cool with, you know what I mean, or next door neighbors, or even friends, or even managers, right? They're still going, and they're going to keep all their feelings to themselves. They're still going and protecting their own lives, meanwhile egging you on to do what they don't even have the bollocks to do. Yeah, it's like everybody's a loser in this. Yeah. And now you're facing 25 to life because he thought he was going to play self-defense. But the thing is, he's in Tennessee. That's the thing. And there, in those laws, unless, and a lot of people have been looking into and lawyers commenting on whether he has a chance with self-defense, and he doesn't. First of all, he was the one who started the antagonizing. There's video footage of exactly what happened. Again, it's all on tape. He started it. He was the one bringing out a gun when there wasn't even a gun happening from the other side. There wasn't a weapon. The guy was actually scared and was saying, hey, I will retaliate if you keep doing this because I have PTSD. Bearing in mind a guy that fought for the country. And you shot him. And thank God this guy lived, the one who he shot. Because I was like, if this man dies, Chud will never, ever recover. Because the thing is, it's crazy when you have people in your own camp who have to come out and be like, nah, bro, you took it too far. Bro, you took it too far. You took it too far. You took it too far with this. When you have a Nick Fuentes coming out talking about, nah, I'm racist to everyone and I'm whatever and I couldn't be behind this. When you have your own people, other people within your community who I didn't even know about from before, because it's like, again, what I'm saying, guys, and people get so offended by, this white supremacist, look what these people said. I'm like, you don't have to look at it. I don't even know these people existed, if not for the fact that creators who I watch, so many of them were covering this, that I ended up getting involved. That was living my life, minding my business, getting on with my own whatever. So all to say that it was all just because he was a loser. He couldn't just deal with the situation that had happened. He could have just, in order to recover everything, He could have even just done an apology to the internet, like, guys, you know what, I took it too far. It was a cheap shot. I've experienced the consequences of my actions. You accept that some people are never going to forgive you. Guys, I've had to do all these things in my life. I've had to be embarrassed. I've embarrassed myself so many times. I embarrass myself all the time. I have to apologize to everybody. I have to know that some people are going to be so hurt by my actions that I'll never be able to recover those relationships, or I'll never be able to recover those situations. I'll never be able to get those opportunities again. And it has to be a lesson in life, and it's a lesson in winning. That do I now go and do the loser thing of being like trying to excuse myself and trying to ignore the fact that I'm the one who put myself in this situation, and I need to learn what I'm going to do differently next time, and I need to accept the consequences of my actions, which again, this is how the fundamentals of even giving your life to Jesus is recognizing that you by yourself with your own wisdom will always lead you to your own destruction. So that's why we come to the Lord in humility. This is what I'm saying. If he'd humbled himself in the beginning, he could have just been like, you know what, guys, I'm sorry about this. This is not my intention. I messed up. I shouldn't have said that. I should have whatever. But instead, he let the other losers, right? And I'm not saying I think all white supremacists are losers or whatever. I'm just saying that the people who are egging him on, who are not then also, because to me, this is why like I can come for people who are online, because I put my face online. So it's a fair game. I'm not here hiding away. I'm not hiding away in somewhere. I'm right here. I'm visible. You can see my face. You can see all of this. It's all here. So I feel like I can step forward and say what I have to say. You know what I'm saying? And I respect others that do. That's what I'm saying. If he had actually had made some good points and actually had some maybe policies he wants to enact, like what is this leading to? What was what he was doing leading to? And that's what also really makes it a losing thing. You're just angry in the corner. And it's always losers who are just angry in the shadows. And their anger builds up and eventually it blows up. And the thing is, when it blows up, it always only backfires on them alone. This is why, like I said, guys, you have to learn. It's like Cain and Abel. His brother gets whatever his brother's getting, and then he doesn't. And he had a moment where he could have just humbled himself and tried again the next time. But instead, he let that anger overcome him, and then he kills his brother. It's the same tale as always. The Pharisees and the Sadducees in the Bible, they could have just humbled themselves. But instead, they let their anger build up and they kill Jesus. It's the same with David and Saul. Saul could have just humbled himself the first few times God was warning him, the first times he was making all his mistakes. But instead, he didn't. He kept making the work, doing wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong. Yeah. And then and God has now picked somebody else, his solution again isn't to sit back and go, you know what, I messed up. It's to go and now try and kill David, as if that's going to achieve anything. So I'm saying, what was he going to achieve by terrorizing black people, calling them niggas and calling them chimps? What are you going to achieve? What have you achieved? Where has that brought you in life? Because actually all it's done is isolate you more. It's closed off more opportunities for you, because even if there's other white people who even agree with you, or even non-white people who agree with you, they're not going to want to have you around, because now you become a threat to what they're doing, because now they're going to have to deal with the mess that comes with you. So even if people agree with you, they're probably not going to go and want to get involved, because you're just messy for your own movement anyway. And this is what I'm saying when I say, guys, about losers. This is the classic case. This is a classic example of a loser who just kept riding that train delusionally in pride, thinking this was going somewhere, because pride makes you deluded. And this is what happened with this guy. And then now look where he is. Now he's facing 25 to life, and he thought he was going to get away with it. What? Because it's a black person. Yeah, black equals bad. Black people bad. Police support white people. And to watch these police officers, be telling him, like, look, buddy, this isn't going the way you think. He created a situation where we're now so many black people going to see the police on their side. The police taking the side of the black man. And you really thought that your final finale victim was going to be a vet, somebody who's actually gone and fought for the country. Baby, if you care so much about your freedoms and freedom of speech in America, you go and put the uniform on, go and do the training. But you can't, because you're a loser. You'd probably quake the first day. You'd probably quake when they ask you to do 20 push-ups. You know what I'm saying? You'd probably be scared the moment you land somewhere and you're not the predominant coloured race you're seeing around yourself. And you're in these other countries of the world that are far more violent. Listen, I would love for so many of these people who have these ways of thinking to go and visit other places around the world and just go there. Even me, right? I would never go to somewhere like, say, for example, Zimbabwe. And in certain parts, because obviously there's like the more touristy areas, but there's certain parts I wouldn't go there as a black Zimbabwean and Zambian girl, because it's not safe. People can get away with more heinous. It's crazy. The degrees of street smarts you have to have, right? But also there's places where it's just unbelievably beautiful and unbelievably incredible, where you're just like, it's just nothing like it, you know. I would like to see it. Like, go over to Afghanistan, go to Iran, then go over the other places of the world, go around the world, and go by yourself and go and try these same antics. Because people here, your only thing is that you guys are all about, you know, let's keep the whatever, the peace of the public. This is why they want to take the guns away. But that's just so they can take advantage of you. That's not because you're more civilized. It's because they've just formed a better form of corruption where you guys have sit in pride as nations in the West and think you're better than other countries in the world, right? That's how they get you. When your governments are some of them are just as corrupt as anybody else. They just know how to do it in the shadows. And they know that if they can get you under the delusion of pride, that you'll sit there on your high horse and go ahead and do dumbish like this, right? And look down upon others. Meanwhile, others are at least more prepared for if their governments turn on them, which you're not. And that's the butt of the real joke of all of this. This is why I don't care. I'm just like, you know what? Racist who? Racist what? Call me a nigger, call me a chimp, call me a monkey. Like, I don't care. Because you know what's funny? Just like with this, at the end of the day, it's these same guys who, if they had the chance, a lot of the time, call me a nigger, call me a chimp. But if I'm like trying to pull a move now, look who's still ready to be inside me anyways. Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes me laugh about it. That's when that black woman came out with what she said. I was like, I knew it. Like, I know it. It's always like that. It's always like that. It's always like that. And a lot of times it's like, oh, because you tried it and didn't get a chance or whatever, then now you have a vendetta. Now you have a vendetta. But if you had the chance, if you had all the black women all over you, mate, you'd be shaving off that freaking hairstyle and that mustache, and you'd be throwing yourself on a do-rag if you could. Right? And you'd be swimming in it if you could. Like, let's be real, because you really were. I mean, you went another step further than that. And that's what made me laugh about it as well. That's when, like, guys, are they hating or are they just haters? And like I said, guys, I'm not against white people at all. Like I said, I'm just saying, like, I'm going to call it for what it is. Is he Chud the racist, or is he just Chud the loser? I think he's Chud the loser. And now poor old Dalton with his cute little bouncy butt cheeks is facing 25 to life. All because he couldn't just humble himself. All because he couldn't just humble himself. And that's what I'm saying is loser energy. How can you be that out of control of your own self? How can you let your ego and your pride overtake you to that extent that you make such a stupid decision? Like, even if you wanted to go with that movement, it just doesn't make any sense to do it the way that he did. And now what? What's he going to do? And then now he's going to be in prison. And oh, best believe them butt cheeks going to be bouncing again. But this time it's not going to be a toy. And I bet you it's still gonna be a nigga. I love it here, guys. I'm loving it on Earth these days because it's just funny to watch this stuff and realize I've never been so happy to be who I am and not be like other people. Like, that's how I've been feeling recently when I see stuff like this. Anyways, guys, stay tuned. We've got a lot of fun videos today. Your girl's in the mood. But yeah, guys, let's just all love each other and let's also work on the real issue here, which is the kingdom of darkness. Not race, not gender, not age, not political side. The real issue is the kingdom of darkness that's trying to kill, steal, and destroy all of us, no matter what we are. Let's focus on the actual, let's be adults and focus on what really matters, and let's just let these other things just move on by, because who cares? Who really cares? Because these are the people, yeah? Listen to people like him. He's not somebody we're going to be trusting for in the revolution. He's not going to be the one there busting down the underground tunnels and having the emotional bandwidth to handle all this stuff that we're going to be doing. So why do we care? He's not going to be of value in the situation anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, just ignore them. Just ignore them. That's how I live my life. Or, in this case, you get to laugh because of how funny it is. Anyways, guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.